There's a phrase I've used before, and I've written in my articles when talking about enterprise environments and corporate environments. I called it breaking the trance. The trance is what happens when smart, capable people stop thinking critically because someone with authority told them what to do, or they're expecting someone to tell them what to do. Today I want to revisit the idea, but I want to go a little bit deeper. Because when we talk about authority bias, we're not talking about strategy first. We're not even talking about execution first. We're talking about ethics. Why authority bias is an ethical issue. Authority bias is often discussed like a cognitive shortcut, or a bias we just need to be aware of. I don't think that framing is sufficient. Authority bias becomes an ethical issue the moment that people surrender their moral responsibility, and leaders fail to create conditions where dissent is safe, and obedience replaces judgment, and silence replaces integrity. That's the moment it becomes an ethical point, because at that point, this is no longer about performance. It's about moral agency. The Milgram study, a disturbing mirror. In the early 60s, Stanley Milgram showed that the majority of ordinary people are willing to administer what they believed were lethal electric shocks to another human being, simply because an authority figure told them to do so. Let that sink in. These weren't sadists. These were everyday people, right? And you can see them. They were visibly distressed, sweating, shaking, if you look at the video. And all the while, they're still complying. Why? Because authority was present. Responsibility felt externalized, and obedience felt safer than defiance. Stanley Milgram didn't reveal something abnormal. He revealed something deeply human. Enterprises at modern Milgram labs. Let's be honest. Modern enterprises recreate Stanley Milgram's conditions almost perfectly. You got hierarchy, titles, performance reviews, job dependency, cultural pressure to align, fear of being labeled difficult, language that sanitizes consequences. Things like leadership direction or strategic alignment or executive mandate. Different words, same psychological effect. The ethical failure isn't that people obey. The ethical failure is designing systems that reward obedience over conscience. How authority bias destroys organizations. This is how authority bias destroys organizations. Known risks go unchallenged. Broken ideas get executed anyway. Obvious flaws are documented, but ignored. Clients suffer, employees disengage, malpractice becomes normalized, leaders remain insulated from reality. All because the boss said so. Not evil, not malicious, just obedient. Leadership ethics, where responsibility truly lives. If you hold authority, you inherit ethical responsibility for the obedience that you evoke in your people. Leadership is not just about direction, it's about containment of your own influence. Ethical leadership requires that you ask, have I created a space for dissent? Do people feel safe telling me that I'm wrong? Am I confusing alignment with agreement? Have I made it easier to comply than to think? If the answer is yes to any of that, authority bias is already active. Breaking the trance starts with ethics. Before strategy, before execution, organizations must decide ethically that we value truth over hierarchy, that we value conscience over compliance, that we treat silence as a risk signal, that we design systems that invite challenge. And only after that ethical stance is clear do strategy and execution even matter. Because a perfectly executed unethical system is still a failure. Authority bias doesn't have to make people evil. It makes people quiet. And history, corporate and otherwise, shows us exactly where quiet obedience leads. Breaking the trance is not optional, it's an ethical obligation. And this has been part of our ethics series. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be on the lookout for more. Until then.